All right, in this video, I want to talk about different types of cost and how they behave differently. And you guys probably understand a lot of what we're going to talk about in this video, but you've probably never had it formally defined for you. You haven't had different types of cost formally defined, but you probably understand it just because you've dealt with cost in your everyday life, and you understand that they behave differently, and you've probably made decisions based on cost behavior before. And so what we're going to do in this video is we're going to take what you already know, but we're just going to formally define it. And what you'll see in this chapter is that understanding cost behavior is really important in terms of making good decisions, in terms of making a company profitable. So let's get started. And what I want to talk about in this video is an example that you guys can probably completely relate to, and that is going on spring break to the beach and how we're going to handle the costs that we're going to incur if we decide to take a trip to the beach for spring break. So one cost that we're probably definitely going to incur is that we're going to have to rent a beach house. So we're going to have a beach house. And let's just say that this beach house cost us $1,200 a week. And we're only planning to go for 1 week. So it's going to cost us $1,200 for the beach house no matter what. Doesn't matter if we go on spring break by ourselves or we invite all of our friends. It's going to be $1,200 for the beach house. And because no matter how many people are included in this beach trip, the cost is still $1,200. This is a fixed cost. So we're going to call this a fixed cost. And now that sounds really simple, but people get confused with fixed cost a lot because when we're talking about fixed cost, we're talking about total cost. The total cost of our beach trip, no matter how many people come, will be $1,200 when it comes to the beach house, and that's why the cost is fixed. And so to see that more clearly, let's look at a little table here. Let's say the number of friends that we invite, and then let's look at the total cost, and then let's look at the per unit cost or per friend. Okay, if we go to the beach by ourselves, so it's just us, one person, the total cost of this beach house is $1,200. Per friend, since it's just us, it's $1,200 per person, since only one person is going. If we decide to invite a friend with us, so we have 2 people going to the beach, well, the total cost of the beach house is still $1,200. But now we can divide that total cost by 2 because there's 2 people going, and it's only $600 per friend. If we invite 3 people, the total cost is still $1,200, but now it's only $400 per friend. 4 people, total cost is still $1,200. But now it's only $300 per friend. And you guys are getting the idea. If we invite 5 people, cram 5 people into this beach house, the total cost is $1,200 still, but it's only $240 per person. And if we decide to cram 6 people into the house, still the total cost of the trip is $1,200, but now it's only $200 per person or per friend or per unit. So notice something here. We define this cost as fixed because the total cost is fixed. Notice that as we increase the activity or increase the number of friends, the total cost is $1,200. It doesn't matter how many people we invite, it's $1,200 the total cost. But notice that this fixed cost, as we increase the number of friends, the per unit cost is variable. So you can see as the number of friends increase, the cost per friend decreases. Okay, so the fixed cost per unit is variable. The total fixed cost is fixed. So when we're talking about a fixed cost, this cost is fixed because the total cost is fixed. And you can see that in this graph over here. You can see that no matter how many friends we invite, we have the number of friends down here on the horizontal axis. It doesn't matter how many we invite, the total cost up here is $1,200. Okay, if we invite 1 friend, it's $1,200. If we invite 2 friends, it's $1,200. 3, it's $1,200. 4, it's $1,200, and so on. But fixed cost per unit decreases with the number of friends we invite. And you can see that if we invite 2 friends, our fixed cost per unit is $600. If 6 people come to the beach, it's only $200 per person. So this is really important to understand. A fixed cost is based on the total cost. So this beach house is considered a fixed cost because the total cost does not vary. All right, but there are other costs that we need to consider when going to the beach. For one, everyone's going to have to buy a plane ticket. So let's say that plane tickets right now are selling for $200. So now this plane ticket's going to work differently than the beach house. This plane ticket's going to be defined as a variable cost. And that's because the more people we invite on the trip, as the activity level increases, the number of people that come on our trip increases, the total cost will vary. It will also increase. So you can see that real clearly. Let's say the number of friends we invite, the total cost, and then the cost per unit or the cost per friend. Okay, if we invite just ourselves, just one person, the total cost is going to be $200. Per friend, for us, it's going to cost us $200. If we invite 2 people, the total cost is going to increase to $400. But per friend, each of us is still only going to pay $200. We're each going to pay $200 for our plane ticket. If we invite 3 friends, the total cost is going to increase to $600. But still, it's per friend, it's only $200. If we invite 4, the total cost will be $800. But again, per friend, it's still only $200. If 5 people come on the trip, the total cost is $1,000. But per friend, it's still only $200. And if we bring 6 people on the trip, the total cost will be $1,200. But per friend, it will still be $200. So notice, we define this plane ticket as a variable cost because the total cost varies. You can see it right here. The total cost varies directly with the number of people that are coming on the trip. And that's why it's a variable cost. But if we look at the per friend cost or the per unit cost, it's fixed. So this variable cost on a per friend basis is fixed. It's exactly the same. No matter how many people come, per friend, it's $200. But the total cost varies, and we're defining it as a variable cost because the total cost varies. So just like with a fixed cost, we defined it as a fixed cost because the total cost was fixed. We're defining this cost as a variable cost because the total cost varies. And you can see that on this graph here. No matter how many friends we invite, 1 through 6, the variable cost per unit or the cost per friend right here is fixed. It's $200. It's the same thing I just showed you. But the total variable cost right here, it varies. Okay, the total cost varies. If we invite more friends, we have to buy more plane tickets. So it's a variable cost because the total cost varies. So we define cost as fixed or variable based on the total cost. That's the idea I'm trying to get across to you guys. It's based on the total cost. All right, and then one other type of cost I want to talk about, and we're just going to briefly talk about this one. It's called a mixed cost. And a mixed cost is a cost that's going to have a fixed and a variable component. So let's say that while we're at the beach, we get this beach house, we get our plane tickets, and then we decide to rent a boat. And let's say our boat, it rents for $200 plus $50 per person. Okay, so you can clearly see that this is a mixed cost. It has a fixed and a variable component. No matter what, no matter how many people come, it costs us at least $200. That portion of the cost is fixed. But then every person that we add to the trip, it's an additional $50. So this is a mixed cost. So we have 3 types of costs that I want you guys to be comfortable with. Fixed cost, variable cost, and mixed cost. And I want you guys to remember, we define cost as fixed or variable based on the total cost, not the per unit cost. Okay, so now that we got the formal definitions down, you guys understand a fixed cost, a variable cost, and a mixed cost, at least what they are by definition. In the next few videos, we're going to look at how understanding cost behavior can really increase the profitability of a company.